Welcome again to my workshop. We were really hoping to make a video from the airfield, from flying, but the weather is horrible. The rain is non-stop. It's raining every day. Today is 5 degrees and raining, and it's like this every day. And the video is interesting because it was supposed to be about this brand new for me Avanti, Sebart Avanti, 1.4 meters. But I flew it already, but we don't have the video of flying, so it will come next. Today is no flying, it's just a tech talk. So we're gonna talk about some setup and some other stuff I prepared. So it's gonna be kind of an entertainment I hope for everyone. So maybe I start with the Sebart. I flew it already. It's flying nice. It's flying different than the Freewing Avanti. Freewing Avanti is definitely lighter. It flies more like a glider and it glides better. This one is more like a brick. So when you dead stick, when you cut down the throttle, it doesn't stall and doesn't fall on the wing, but it just drops. Just drops like horizontally drops. So if you have not enough speed, it will not flip on the wing. It doesn't do it. It's very stable, but it just drops. Like drops dramatically down, so you can bend the landing gear, and I did already. So you take care not to go too slow. I think 50-60 kilometers per hour is minimum speed for landing for this plane, but it is a plane to buy. It's amazing, and it's definitely faster than the Freewing. I think the airfoil and general design is faster. So with the same power and motor setup like Freewing Avanti, this plane is faster. It's I think 40 kilometers per hour faster. I didn't put the pitot tube, but I estimate that this goes on 6S 120 amps about 240 k's per hour, and the Freewing Avanti was flying 200. It was really hard to go faster than 200. Okay, so now we start talking about the setup, because this plane, when you set it up according to the manual instruction, it doesn't really fly. It doesn't want to fly, so there is few tricks, and I spoke with some other guys that are using this plane, and they recognized it right away. So if you're not an experienced modeler, maybe you could have difficulty with that. So let's dive in. Oh, just before I say something about the setup, I'll say something about the cabin, because you see, I painted this cabin black. So it's not a scale jet, not a jet with a pilot and everything, but a sport jet. So this is black, but it's not forever. It's not. I didn't do it permanently, because maybe someday I will get an idea of putting a pilot inside. So I tell you how I did it, so I can reverse the process. Of course, I masked it with the tape, and I painted the inside of the how you call it? Yeah, of the glass with the spray on rubber. This one is actually Plasti Deep, but you can buy in any hardware store, in Castorama or whatever, or Obi, a spray on rubber. And this rubber is amazing. If you spray enough layers, like 3 or 4 layers, you can peel it off super easily. So if you change your mind, you just peel it off, and you have a clear cabin again. So it's beautiful. So this is something I recommend to everyone. If you want to give it a sharper look, like this one, I think it's quite sharp, but not forever. Okay, so this is cool. Last week I was flying it, and it was dark and foggy and really cold and misty. And I thought that the yellow and red and the black will be super nice to see. That's why I chose this color scheme. But in reality, these colors are not bright enough, and you just don't see the model. Especially that this is a fast model, and it's not so big because it's 1.4 meters. So comparing to the Black Horse Viper, which was 2 meters and mostly black, the Black Horse Viper you see everywhere, even in foggy days. And this one you don't see this gray strips and yellow. It just blends in with the clouds, and it's hard to fly. So First I put some strips, some bright red strips on the wings, but it didn't help. Then I put Aura cover. This is Aura cover standard film. This is called fluorescent red, and this is fluorescent orange. And I'm gonna do the second wing also, because even in very foggy and gray days, it shines. It's wonderful. So now I can see the plane. So I'm gonna change all yellows for the orange and all reds for this red fluorescent fluo red. So also here and here the yellow will be orange. So it's gonna be very nice. And I already have this. I bought this. It's very nice. It's Aura cover and it's very easy to work with. And of course the bottom of the plane will be all black, because now the winter season comes and you got to see your model, especially when you go for. Okay, let's dive deeper. When you go for this is my special setup, because now inside there is a head motor 768 2250 kV, and on 6S it has 2.7 kilowatt. About 120, 130 amps. Oh no, 130, 140 amps, something like this. And it's very fast. It's very nice. But this one, this is also 90mm WeMoTec rotor. The shroud I printed myself because I play with different designs to change the sound, to change the efficiency, and it's kind of my game. And it's also printed from ASA plastic, very nice, on Prusa printer. Thanks from Prusa. But the setup is, the motor had 775,400 kV. This is Sunrise 12S ESC, which theoretically is 100 amps, but it handles 150 amps easily. And this combo, it's gonna be 6 kilowatts, almost 6 kilowatts. So this baby is gonna fly above 300. I think with the PTO tube it will fly like my Diablo. Hold on, I'm back. Diablo on this setup flew 350. So it's a challenge. I dare the Sebart with the dead Diablo. And I think the Sebart will be at least as fast as Diablo, although Diablo was very fast. So it will be above 300, maybe 340, 330. So it's gonna be a fast plane. That's why we need to see it. That's why it needs to be very shiny. And that's why when I was buying these films, Aura cover films from a local RC shop, a friend lady that is working there, she told me, hey Wojtek, we have very nice lights. They're very easy to put on from Multiplex. Try them. Multiplex. And they are very nice because you stick them on. They have 3 programs. And I already tried them in the air. And they are so bright. Like this. Big. I flew on this program. And it's amazing. They are really, really strong, and the nice thing is that you stick them on. It's on 2 sides, like sticky tape, and you see them from all angles, from side, from front, from back, from top, and they're very bright. And the battery lasts for 20 flights, and you charge them with a normal phone charger. So it's very convenient. It's very easy. You don't need to damage your plane, and the plane doesn't go slower. I didn't feel the difference with it and without it. So this is super nice. I recommend to everyone. It's from Multiplex. Try it. And Multiplex is a good German brand, so they will last. This is good. Okay, so it was some fun stuff, and now let's go back to the essentials, how to make this plane fly. Because I took it the first day, I took it to the field, and I pushed the throttle 2.7 kilowatts with telemetry, and I used the whole runway and it didn't take off. And I'm like, what? Okay, so move the CG back. I had it on 145 millimeters like it was in manual, it didn't take off. And there was a lot of power, and the plane was going already above 100. Because we have just nice runway now, very, very smooth. So I moved the CG back, didn't take off. Then I moved the CG even more back, like almost 3 cm back. It took off, but barely. But then it was very nervous in flight. So the CG needs to be 145 to be flying nice, to be steady and very true in line. So then I did something which is a must on this plane if you want to have fun flying it. You need to extend the front strut, the front landing gear, by 2 cm, at least 2 cm. Because when you open your landing gear and you put it horizontal, the plane drives on the runway with the nose down. So there is no way you're gonna go fast enough to, if you're on the grass field, because on the concrete field or asphalt then it's possible, but on the grass field there's no way with these small wheels to actually rotate the plane and take off with normal CG. I just don't believe it, that you can do it. You need to move the CG, but the plane is nervous then. So the only way is to extend the strut by 2 cm, and I did it, and it took off after 25 meters. Really, I just pushed the throttle, 1, 2, flight. It was just a different story. I'm really wondering why Sebart, such a Sebastian Silvestri, he's a great designer, he didn't design it. He didn't correct it, because I know why, because he's flying from a concrete strip, and he can go 150 before he takes off, but on the grass fields, and most of us have grass fields, it's just impossible. So this is the first thing I did. I need to connect the battery, so give me a second. Okay, so before I connect it, I just show you my case. I am minimalistic. I like to have as little as possible. So this is my case. This is the only thing that I bring to the field. This is a plane, this case. And this case is radio and batteries. It's 12 packs that I did myself. So on this plane, when I'm flying on 2 packs, it's 6 flights. It's sweet. It's a lot of flying. Okay, the radio is Jumper T16, but the most important thing is OpenTX. If you still don't fly on OpenTX, start. It's so nice. It's a different world. It's so nice. Okay.
0 volts, 0 volts.
Okay, so now I show you how to extend the front strut in a very easy way. You need to have access to the cable. Okay. Okay, I cut the power so the doors are not closing. So, it's quite easy. You need to unscrew the front landing gear, disassemble it with only 4 screws. It's very easy, and it's actually very high quality landing gear servos, so it's safe for you to disassemble it and assemble again. It's not plastic, it's all metal, so it's easy and safe. And once you disassemble it, you just need to extend the little rod that is going inside the leg, the strut, and inside the landing gear servo. And that's it. And I extended it with the stainless steel screw that I found in my screw box. And this is, I think this is 4mm stainless steel screw, and stainless steel is actually very hard. I just cut this head so it was just a tiny bit left, and then sanded it round so it goes in enough, and I just cut it so the thread was cut away, and this screw is stiff enough to fly. So actually there is a distance between the strut and the servo like this, with only this screw, and it's enough. And also to support it extra, I glued a piece of wood here so the strut supports against this wood if I land too hard. But this is something you must do. You really must do if you want to fly this plane, because otherwise you constantly ride the nose down and it doesn't rotate. So it's one thing. And the second thing, the wheels on the plane are, I think, 5 cm, 50 millimeters, which is way too less for grass fields. So I bought this. This is actually Park Flyer wheels, and they're strong enough. I have already few flights on them, and they're strong enough. And this is 60 millimeters, or 59 or 60, or something like this. And there is still some gap, but on the front wheel I have maybe 1 mil left, and it's much better. Bigger wheels, much better for grass. One more thing I have to say, because I meet guys on the field all the time, and they're asking me to help them to set up their planes. And what they do, it's about, we're gonna talk about the servo connections to the control surfaces, the flaps and the ailerons. They connect the rods to the most far out hole on the servo, and then of course the control throws are huge, so the plane is uncontrollable, so they reduce the move of the servo by radio, so the servo moves only like that. And I just have to say, because it's constant, everybody does that, so I have to say it's pointless. You are buying, let's say, 3 kilogram servo. The power of the servo is 3 kilograms. But then you connect the rod on the most far out hole, and then you limit the throw of the servo with radio by software. It's really pointless, because then you reduce the power of the servo by half, comparing if you had it in the middle hole. So if you don't fly 3D or aggressive flying, and you like to fly scale, like I do, I fly slow movements, very, very smooth, then it's much better to connect the rod to the inner hole towards the pivot point of the arm of the servo. Then you actually increase the power of the servo. So if you move it closer in, then you have more than 3 kilos. So actually, it's not only better because you're using the full throw of the servo and you have more power on the servo, but also this way you can use lighter servos, so the plane is lighter, so it flies better. So this is what I do always in all of my planes. I never said this before. These servos here are actually 2.5 kilo. I think this is Tower Pro Metal Gear servos, but I connect the rods closer, so I'm using more power of this servo, and this servo weighs maybe 10 grams or 12 grams. This is a sub-micro servo, it's very small and super light, and this way I'm saving a lot of weight. Not a lot, but let's say 50 grams on the plane, which is something. Here there are stronger servos, but especially in flaps it's important, because flaps, they use a lot of power. So if you connect the rod closer to the servo, then there is more power on the flap. There's more torque. And of course, because there is a sequencer, so we have to sequence the whole thing to close the doors. Probably. Oh, it's close. Very nice. Okay, and one very nice thing also flying with jumper or FR Sky is the telemetry. This is a 100 amps 12S sensor. It's actually looking like this. It's XT90 connector. And this sensor measures current, voltage, and also gives you a capacity of the battery used, or how much you still have left. As long, you can program it as you like, and you connect it with a cable directly to the receiver. So the radio is not only showing on the display all the details, but it also speaks to me while flying. So I'm not flying on the timer like everybody, like most of the guys, but I'm flying on the real battery usage from this battery. 4,000, I'm using 3,000. So when I'm flying on 2, I'm using 6,000 milliampere hours, and the radio is telling me when I exceeded 6,000, and then I land. And I still have 2,000 left to make a few more laps around. And also, with FrSky is very nice. I'm flying on S6R receiver, which is with stabilization, with gyro, so the plane is smoother, and you can adjust the gain from the radio during flight, so this is super nice. Okay, one more thing about the lights that we spoke in the beginning, these lights. I was thinking how to get very strong LED lights for the plane, stronger than they sell in RC shops, because winter is coming and really I would like to have very strong lights on wings, or so I can see the plane in very foggy days. And I actually came up with a great idea. This is a normal bulb, LED bulb for my car. It costs, I don't know, €5 maybe? And it's so strong, it's unbelievable, and it runs on 12 volts, so it's 3S. On 3S it really runs, and it's quite small, so it goes into the wing easily, into the tip of the wing. So I will cut a little space here, cover with the acrylic, and 3S cable to the main battery, and it's really strong. So I recommend everyone just to go to the car parts shop and buy, or online, and buy LED bulbs for cars. This is used for I bought it for my reverse lights in my car, because my driveway is very dark and it's really working. So this is nice, interesting. Okay, I'm thinking about one modification in this plane. We're just jumping forward. I'm thinking about putting 100mm WeMoTec into this plane just to try, because 100 is more efficient than 90, and I already tried and it fits in. I just need to send a little bit the frame, the plywood frame, but just slightly, and then it drops in. And this is actually a 12S setup, so I'm thinking maybe 12S or maybe 6S, I don't know. And it might be nice, because the exit, how do you call it, the exit hole, not the S, the truss tube, there's a lot of space, so the diameter of the tail is 90mm, so it's perfect for the 100, and it will be more efficient, and this is almost the same weight like 90, so I wouldn't gain in weight, but only in efficiency. It's super nice, and it runs on exactly the same motors like the 90 and 80, so it's nice. And this is the lightest 100mm drive on the market by far, so it's super nice. The lightest, I mean the lightweight. This is for the Black Horse Viper to move the CG back, and actually I did it here too for the Avanti, because Avanti has a motor mount here, and the battery here, and the ESC here. Everything is packed, and if I want to fly on 2 batteries, then already the nose is too heavy, so I need to add weight here, so it's pointless. And I'm actually thinking on flying on 3 batteries, or even on 12S, which is 4 batteries, so they're gonna be here, so I need some weight back, but I don't want to increase weight by putting lead or some weights on the back. So I printed a tube which is moving the drive back by 20 cm. You see this tube, there is a lip. I printed this on my Prusa printer, and the drive now is here, and which is very nice, because the ESC of course is the same place, because now my batteries are standing here, and this is very convenient, because these little holes are perfect for Velcro straps, and it's super convenient to play with the batteries here instead of here, which is much tighter, with less space. So moving the motor back is really great, and I knew I will do it when I was ordering this plane already. And also, very important tip is that I tested it in all of my planes, that the shorter the thrust tube is behind the motor, the faster the plane flies. It's like the thrust tube is creating a lot of drag on the exiting air, and it slows down the plane significantly. So actually, it would be the best if the EDF would be sitting here, because then there would be the shortest possible thrust tube. And there was one comment under my Fanjet Ultra video on YouTube, that if I put the thrust tube, it would go even faster. So I commented this. It's not true. The fastest it goes, and I don't tell you this because I came up, I dreamt about this. I know it because I tested it. The fastest it goes when there is no thrust tube. When the air exiting from here, it just exit and that's it. Whenever I push the thrust tube on the Fanjet or other planes that had just standing out EDFs, whenever I put the thrust tube, the plane always slows. So it's always the best when there is no thrust tube, when there's just free exit of the air. But because we are flying fast because of the difference of the speed of these molecules of air here comparing to the molecules of air here. So when you have a tube, this tube creates drag. Of course, you can compress it, but by compressing the air, you create even more drag. So it's not working, and I'm not telling you lies, because I designed a lot of different planes. This is one plane that was designed to fly over 500 kilometers per hour on 12S with 80 millimeter EDF, and this is actually okay, this is 100, but the 80 sits here, and actually the engine was reversed, so it was engine front, motor front, and behind the EDF there was nothing, just a cone, no motor. And I designed planes like this, many of them. I designed them and built them, scratch built by hand. This is actually from 3D printer. And they flew all above 400 km per hour, all of them. They exploded in the air, some not, but I made a lot of them and I just know what I'm talking about. No thrust tube, better. So, I'll just put this away. So I'm actually thinking to extend this intake lip from 20 to 30 or even 40. And one more important thing. The thrust vector on this plane is wrong. And the vector of the thrust, the best way to test it is, if you have a plane like this, fly it like quarter of throttle level on the horizon so you can see it, like right to left or whatever, and then push full throttle. And you will see that the plane starts to dive in acceleration. That means that the vector of the thrust is pushing the plane down. So it means that the air is exiting too low and is pushing the tail of the plane up. That's why it goes down. So you have to correct it with the elevator, which is pointless, because when you pull down the throttle, then the plane goes up. So it's like fighting. So when I printed this tube, I actually lowered the EDF and changed the vector, and it went up, and now it flies almost perfect. I have to say almost, because I still had to put under the acrylic a piece of styrofoam to correct the thrust vector, but I will go even lower with the EDF, so it's vectoring higher. And, which is very nice, this is I don't know if you can see with the light here, inside the original design of this plane has a spar that goes through. It's a carbon rod that goes through. It's a one carbon rod, and you lock it with 2 screws through the wings. But unfortunately this carbon rod goes through the tube. So you need to crash the tube and then of course it creates drag, and I hate things like this. I don't like it. So what I did, I designed, you can see the orange part, I sanded with the sander, I sanded the plywood bulkhead or the frame, and I designed and printed from the 3D printer a part that is actually reinforcing the whole tail, but it locks in the spar. The spar is cut, and you can see here and here it goes like, the spar goes like 2.5 cm into the plastic part, really tight, and then you also lock it here with the screw. And if you really want to disconnect it, you can pull it hard and you can disconnect it, so you can remove the spar if you want. But now I have almost 90 millimeters truss tube exit here, and it's not obstructed, it's clear, so it's super nice. So if anyone wants to change it, I can send you the design, because it took me a few hours to measure it and to design it so it fits. It was like 6 or 7 prints, because every time it didn't fit, but now it fits perfectly. So you just slide it in and put some CA glue, and it takes 2 minutes to put it in place. It's really quick, and it's very nice because now the tube is wider and it's clean. It's not dirty. So email me and you'll get it, the design. So it's nice. And of course I can also send you the longer tube to the EDF. And what I noticed, that the loss of the longer tube in front is less than the longer tube back. So it's more reasonable to move the EDF drive back, then the plane flies better. And with this setup it flies super nice, super sweet. So 2 more things, because the video is already too long. This is very interesting. It's like a cherry on the cake. If you're looking for a budget charger, 100 watt budget charger for your 6S, 4S, 5S, this is it. This is a step down module with it shows volts. It's not connected. It shows volts and amps, and you can regulate with the screws the amperage and the voltage. And this is like a PCB board balancer. This one especially is a balancer for 6S, and you cannot adjust it. You just connect it. You adjust with this, but connect it to your battery. This is a balancer. This is a battery, and it charges 4 amps. 4 amps. This is exactly how much this battery needs. 4 amps, and when it's finished charging, it just keeps it full with like this very light charge. So, and this set costs maybe total €7. €7 charger, 100 amps for 6S battery, maybe €8. So this is a cherry on the cake. Okay, and if anybody wants my new old motor, this is quite new, but I don't want it because I'm shifting all my motors now to head. This is TP Power, 0.5 kilo motor, 1100 kV. This costs like €140, I think. I will sell it for €50. If anybody wants, I can send it Europe-wide. The model is called TP4060 9D. The power nominal, I think, is 6 kilowatts, about. So it's a very good motor, but I don't want it, and it's quite expensive, but I can give it away for €50. So email me. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. I'm selling because I don't like to clutter myself with stuff that I don't use, and this is a good motor and it's a waste. It's a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will see this plane flying already with new colors in few days if the weather improves. Okay, thanks a lot.